Welcome to the December 7th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Committee of the City of Keystone Heights. We'll begin today's meeting. Ms. Rakowski, would you like to call roll?
Mayor Lake?
Here.
Vice Mayor Hart?
Here.
Councilman Brown?
Here.
Councilman Peoples?
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any public comment cards, Ms. Rakowski?
I have none, Madam Mayor.
As a matter of the agenda, I'd like to suggest we move item 2 to the end of the meeting and proceed with item 3, other business. Is there any?
I have no objection. That's fine. I have no problem with it.
Okay.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, item 2B, they are present. If you want to move forward with that, and then we can move 2A as soon as Mr. Commando gets it.
Okay.
And a party interested in item 2A is also present, so I would think we could gallop through those pretty quickly, couldn't we?
Okay, so we'll move to item, well, he's going to read the ordinance, and that's what you wanted him to do.
So we can go ahead and move forward with 2B if you'd like, or move 2 to
Okay. Let's go with 2B, public hearing. This is a use by exception at 185 South Lawrence Boulevard, food, beverage, takeout.
Madam Mayor, in your packets, we do have an application for use by exception. The applicant is here this evening. The application is for a beverage walk-up next to Healthy Living in that complex. And so upon staff's recommendation to go ahead and approve, we do have parking restrictions that are lifted within that district because of there being on-street parking. There are no other items that staff sees necessary to be concerned with.
Okay.
We are sitting as the Planning and Zoning Board right now on this matter?
That's correct.
So I will open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Mr. Staten, come on up. Hey there. Would you like to speak to this item?
Is there questions that you have about it?
Questions from council?
First of all, perhaps you might state your name and address just for the record.
My name is Richard Staten. I reside at 5744 Bryce Street in Keystone. And I'm applying for this zoning variance use by exception to open a business called Nutrition Retreat. We're going to be selling healthy flavored teas and meal replacement shakes. There are currently 2 businesses very similar, one in Stark and one in Lake Butler. Both are very successful, and we'd like to open one here in Keystone.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this item during public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council. Council, are there any questions or comments of staff regarding this application?
Is this going to be like a walk-up type of arrangement, or is it going to be a sit-down restaurant?
It will be walk in and take out.
Okay.
You don't plan on having anything on the outside, like little tables or any cafe kind of thing?
No, sir.
And this is, I'm sorry, this is like smoothies and stuff?
Correct. Very similar.
My son wanted to ask me to ask you if you're going to have boba tea.
What type of tea?
Boba tea? That's all the rage now.
No, sir. Okay. Our products are actually through Herbalife.
Okay.
Okay, excellent.
It's not going to involve alcohol anyway, is it?
Absolutely not.
Okay, are there any other questions before we?
I move that the Planning and Zoning Board recommend that the City Council approve the application as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank
We look
you.
forward to your store opening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome to Keystone downtown.
Now, sitting as a city council, would you like a motion to approve this as city council so that we can button it up?
Certainly, if you'd like to go ahead and do that.
Sure. I move that the application, acting as a city council, the application be approved for the use by exception at 185 South Lawrence Boulevard.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. So we will move back up to Resolution 2A. Mr. Commando, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there a motion to read by short title?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Commando, would you like to read by short title?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Ordinance number 2020-589, an ordinance of the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, amending Chapter 11, Business Regulations, Article 6, Hotels and Restaurants, specifically Section 11-52, Mobile Food Vending, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Excellent. Are there any questions of staff regarding this ordinance? Have you had a chance to review the ordinance language?
Just have a procedural question. Is this our second reading?
No, it's our first, I believe.
First reading? Okay. I have no question.
Mr. Hatch, did you want to speak to us about this item, or are you just here to listen?
I have a couple questions when I bring this thing back up. On page 2. The mobile vendor, the mobile food vendors may be located on a lot having at least a minimum lot size requirement, minimum yard requirement. That's in section B. On this piece of property, there's, where exactly is it going to be located? I mean, is it going to be pulled into the back alleyway and brought into the back of the property? Or
I don't believe this is site-specific.
No, it's
It
not.
is not. This opens the ability for anywhere in the city. This is not just for this property.
This requires a food vendor, truck vendor to meet the same requirements as any other restaurant as far as setback and side yard. And we would also have to give it approval before it could be done. And we could probably vary that a little bit if need be based on the particular site.
Mr. Commando, do you have any qualms about moving to this type of language?
Well, I mean, it's really up to the council. The idea is just that this opens the opportunity for more of these mobile food vending places.
And it levels the playing field for the businesses.
Well, I'm concerned about it being equal to the businesses downtown. I don't want it to give them any greater advantage because our businesses make long-term commitments.
the heartburn I'm having with it is 2 or 3 years ago, we made the ordinance not to have food trucks downtown for a reason, and to kind of focus them for events and stuff in this part of the city because of the area and the safety of the parking and everything. So that's really I mean, we just did this a couple years ago to make it where we wouldn't have this downtown. That's the only heartburn I really have about it, and the concern, you know, if we do it for one, we gotta do it for all. And if you get any closer into town, if you get and I'm gonna use this property, for example, the one that this was brought up about, if you go any closer into town, another block on the other side of Genesis, there's really no place to put a food truck with those. I mean, you can't put them on the street, and I guess the gas station has been bought or something, because they're working on that. So you can't put one in that parking lot. So my concern is if we do it for one, we gotta do it for all, and then we're gonna come back in another year or two and have to change this again to make everybody else, conform.
I think the protection that we have here is that this doesn't happen automatically. Someone can't just come in and plop a food truck down. They have to get a permit. They also have to come to planning and zoning and get a use by exception. This is not a permitted use. This is something that does require a use by exception. So you've got one big safeguard in between so that you can then look at the location that's proposed, and if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't suit, you don't grant the use by exception. So it's not, and as far as treating everybody equally, the other argument could be made that if I were a food vendor and had a trucking operation, perhaps I might argue that why am I being treated differently than a restaurant? So I think there's two sides of that coin as well.
Well, I think I'll support it today, but I do see that we may have to make some different, we may have to zig and zag a different way at some point in the future. Any more comments?
No.
Any comments, Ms. Keller?
No.
What's the pleasure of the council?
I move approval of the ordinance as amended.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1. I did not hear your vote. Okay, 4-1. Thank you. Okay. On to other business. We are at pickleball. I'm so excited for pickleball. No, I know you can't see my smile, but I really am excited about pickleball. Ms. Rakowski, would you like to walk us through?
Yes, Madam Mayor. In your packet, you have 4 quotes from vendors that can put a pickleball court on our former skate park, or slab, out at Sunrise Park. There's a couple different ways to approach this. The 3 of the 4 vendors are repairing the cracks and painting the concrete slab itself. The 4th vendor, Top Line Recreation, is going to be putting down recreation tiles that will actually move with the slab if the slab does crack any further. And then there's going to be ramps that'll go up onto these tiles. These tiles are very well constructed, or so I'm told. They have great reviews. They will move with the slab itself so that you will not, any cracks will not create a tripping hazard on these tiles. And so I'll be happy to answer any additional questions that you have based on these 4 quotes that we've received.
Any questions of staff or comments? Because pickleball has been a long time coming to the city of Keystone Heights. I think, as I look through these proposals, I don't know how everybody else feels, but there's some good pricing, and there's a range of pricing being submitted by these vendors. And my thought about it is, I hope we decide to do something well so that we won't be doing it again in a few years. So, spend our dollars wisely and make maybe a bigger investment, and then that product would last longer than something that would maybe have to be addressed in a year or two. And so with that, talking with Ms. Rakowski, we kind of felt like the vendor who was going to bring in the tiles and lay them down so that they moved with the slab was probably the better choice.
So
Which one was that?
Top Line Recreation has quoted the tiles on top of the slabs. They do not want to be responsible for repairing the slab in case that we do run into an issue like we did with the tennis courts to where it's going to crack in a year or 2. They have quoted the tiles to lay on top of the slab that'll move with cracks. Excuse me. That price was quoted at just shy of $13,000. A much less permanent solution would be to go for either resurfacing or just painting the slab itself, and those are your lesser quotes.
Questions or comments?
To borrow a line from a movie, if we build it, they will come. We don't know if we build it, they will come. There is interest, and perhaps, Madam Mayor, you're more tuned into this than I, but I'm wondering if going with the lower cost first and making sure that demand is there, and that if the demand really is there, upgrading in a couple of years, That would be my thinking, because I'm not really sure that it'll get used all that much.
I have it on good authority that it will be used.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna be used, I guess, I would see using it, going the tile direction.
Mr. Brown?
I agree, it's been a long time coming. And I feel like with the people that are involved in it around Keystone, you're gonna have people coming from Gainesville over here, so, which is nice. It's just like that tennis court we've been dealing with for probably 20 years. We need to do it right the first time. So if this is what staff recommends, we go with, I would say, go with the recommendation.
And I know it's still under budget. We had budgeted $20,000 in this year's budget for this project, and it comes in well under that budget. So I feel good about, you know, honoring the amount of money we said we were going to set aside for it. Ms. Kelly, any comment?
No, I don't. I think it would be a good thing.
I got a question. Lynn, do we have cameras out there?
We do not have, we have cameras out at Sunrise surrounding the Public Works facility. They do not reach the pickleball court.
And that might be something we might want to look at, because
Yep.
here we got people on skateboards and bicycles and everything else out in the tennis court. And if we invest in something like this, we probably need to invest in a camera that will cover that in case something happens.
Can you take care of that, Ms. Rakowski?
I had that conversation this morning, Madam Mayor.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's plenty of money in that budget that we could make sure it's secure.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we go with Top Line Recreation for the pickleball court.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. And we're on to our beach fence. Ms. Rakowski, would you like to walk us through?
Absolutely. We have received 3 quotes for the beach fence. They range from $18,000 to $26,000. This will secure the perimeter of the facility with a 6-foot black coated fence. It will also surround our new generator and air conditioning unit for the food distribution Keystone Heights Historic Beach Pavilion. It will include the 5-foot gate for a kayak launch, and then all existing gates. It's staff recommendation to go with a better fence. It's a higher gauge, it's a higher quality fence with the lower pricing.
And it appears to me they're a local vendor.
Yes, they are.
I do like they're a local vendor.
Yes.
And this will be installed by the end of this month.
Excellent. Any questions of staff? Has she explained the project enough for you to make a decision?
I'll make a motion that we go with a better fence.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. So, Ms. Rakowski, you're going to build a fence.
I guess it's better than a wall. Cheaper.
Is there anything else that needs to come before planning and zoning? Any comments?
Madam Mayor, I just have one comment, basically following up what Larry announced at our last meeting. I too will run for re-election. There are just too many things in the hopper that I find exciting, and I want to see them through.
Okay, excellent. All right, anything else? Seeing none, we're adjourned.